The camera pans across a nearly empty diner, Christmas lights twinkling in the window, before settling on a woman in a police uniform sitting alone at a booth. She checks her watch, sighs, and takes another sip of coffee that's clearly gone cold. Her eyes, a striking blue against her fair skin, scan the door with diminishing hope as snow falls gently outside. Who is she waiting for? And why does she keep glancing at the small wrapped gift beside her plate with such uncertainty? Across town, a man frantically mops up a spilled punch bowl at an elementary school Christmas party, his handsome face etched with stress. "Dad, aren't you supposed to be somewhere?" asks a small voice. The janitor looks at his watch and freezes in horror. He's not just late, he might have just ruined his one chance at something he didn't even know he wanted. Will he make it in time before she gives up on him completely? Emma Sullivan hadn't planned on spending Christmas Eve on a blind date. As a detective with the city's police department, holidays usually meant covering shifts for colleagues with families. But her partner on the force, Marissa, had been insistent. "He's perfect for you," Marissa had said. "Single dad, salt of the earth, funny as hell. Just meet him. What's the worst that could happen?" The worst, apparently, was sitting alone in a diner for 45 minutes, becoming an object of pity for the waitstaff who kept refilling her coffee with sympathetic smiles. Emma ran her fingers through her long blonde hair, a nervous habit she'd never managed to break. Her phone buzzed with a text from Marissa. "Any sign of him?" Emma typed back, "I'm giving it 5 more minutes." She shouldn't have agreed to this. Blind dates were awkward enough without the added pressure of Christmas Eve. Emma had built a life she was proud of, respected detective, independent woman, devoted daughter to parents who lived 3 states away. Romance had always been secondary, something that happened to other people. If you're enjoying this story so far, hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you've ever been stood up. Meanwhile, across town, Jack Reynolds was having the night from hell. As head custodian at Westfield Elementary, he'd agreed to stay late for the staff Christmas party. What he hadn't counted on was the kindergarten teacher's nephew knocking over the entire punch bowl 10 minutes before he was supposed to leave. "Dad, your phone keeps buzzing," said his 10-year-old daughter Lily, holding up his cell. Jack glanced at the screen and his stomach dropped. 3 missed calls from Marissa, his neighbor and the woman who'd convinced him to go on this blind date in the first place. "Lily, we have to go. Now." "But you promised I could stay until the end of the party," Lily protested, her eyes wide with disappointment. Jack knelt down, his heart torn. "I know, sweetheart. But remember that friend I was supposed to meet? She's waiting for me, and I'm really late." "Is she your girlfriend?" Lily asked, a hint of worry in her voice. "No, honey. Just someone I'm meeting for the first time." Jack hesitated. "But maybe she could be someone special. I don't know." Lily studied her father's face. Since her mother had walked out 3 years ago, she'd seen how lonely he was, even though he tried to hide it behind jokes and busy schedules. "Then we'd better hurry," she said decisively. Jack quickly finished mopping, grabbed their coats, and rushed out into the snowy night, praying his blind date hadn't already given up on him. Back at the diner, Emma was gathering her things. The small gift, a book she'd thought might be a nice gesture, now seemed silly and presumptuous. She left money for the coffee and stood up, ignoring the pitying glance from the waitress. Just as she reached for her coat, the door burst open, bringing in a flurry of snowflakes and a breathless man with the most apologetic expression she'd ever seen. Behind him stood a young girl, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Emma?" he asked, his voice hopeful and desperate all at once. She nodded, suddenly speechless. The man before her was not what she'd expected. Tall, with an athletic build visible even under his winter coat, and eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled nervously at her. His fair skin was flushed from the cold, and a dusting of snow clung to his dark hair. "I'm Jack." And I have absolutely no excuse good enough for being this late, but I'm hoping you'll let me try anyway. What would you do in Emma's position? Would you stay or walk away? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, ****. Emma hesitated, her gaze shifting between Jack and the young girl who was clearly his daughter. This wasn't part of the plan. A simple coffee date was one thing, but meeting his child right away? That felt like skipping several steps. You brought your daughter, she asked, unable to keep the surprise from her voice. Jack winced. This is Lily. And yes, I know this isn't ideal, but the babysitter cancelled, and then there was a punch bowl incident at the school party, and, he stopped himself. I'm making excuses. The truth is, I almost talked myself out of coming at all. Why? Emma found herself asking, despite her better judgment. Jack's expression softened. Because Marissa said you were beautiful, smart, and way out of my league. She was right about the first two, so I figured she was probably right about the third. Despite herself, Emma felt a smile tugging at her lips. That's a good line. It's not a line if it's true, Jack replied, his eyes meeting hers with surprising sincerity. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve. Dad, you're supposed to pull out her chair. Jack laughed, a warm sound that seemed to fill the diner. Apparently my daughter is my dating coach now. He gestured to the booth. Would you mind if we joined you? I completely understand if you'd rather call it a night. Emma should have said no. She had every right to. But something about the hopeful look in both their faces made her slide back into the booth. 1 cup of coffee, she said firmly. And then I really do need to go. 1 cup turned into 2, and Lily charmed the waitress into bringing her hot chocolate with extra whipped cream. As they talked, Emma found herself relaxing. Jack wasn't just handsome, he was funny, self-deprecating, and clearly devoted to his daughter. He told stories about his job as head custodian at the elementary school with pride rather than apology. Most people hear janitor and make assumptions, he said, stirring his coffee. But I love it. I know every kid in that school by name. I'm there when they lose their first tooth or have their first heartbreak. It matters. It does matter, Emma agreed, thinking of her own work. That's how I feel about being a detective. It's not always glamorous, but it matters. Jack's eyes lit up. Marissa mentioned you were a cop, but not a detective. That's impressive. Dad thinks police officers are heroes, Lily chimed in, her face ringed with chocolate. He says they're like real-life superheroes. Emma felt a blush creeping up her neck. I don't know about that. I do, Jack said quietly, his eyes holding hers for a moment too long. If this unexpected Christmas Eve meeting is warming your heart, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss our next story. As the evening progressed, Emma found herself sharing more than she'd intended. She told them about growing up with parents who moved constantly for work, about finding stability in the police force, about her partner Marissa who was determined to see her settle down. She means well, Emma said with a laugh. But she doesn't understand that I'm happy with my life as it is. Are you? Jack asked, his question gentle but direct. Emma paused, caught off guard by his perceptiveness. Most days. Yeah, he nodded. Me too. Most days. Lily had fallen asleep against her father's arm, her breathing deep and even. Jack looked down at her with such tenderness that Emma felt something shift inside her chest. I should get her home, he said reluctantly. It's getting late, and Santa has to come tonight. Emma nodded, suddenly aware of how much time had passed. The diner was nearly empty now, the staff clearly waiting for them to leave so they could close up. As they stood to go, Emma remembered the small wrapped package she'd brought. She hesitated, then handed it to Jack. It's nothing special, she said quickly. Just a book I thought, well, Marissa said you liked mysteries. Jack took the gift with surprise. I didn't bring anything for you. You showed up, Emma said simply. Eventually. His laugh was warm as he carefully tucked the gift into his pocket. Can I walk you to your car? Outside, the snow had stopped, leaving the world quiet and blanketed in white. Jack carried Lily, who remained asleep against his shoulder. They walked in comfortable silence to Emma's car, their breath forming clouds in the cold air. I know this wasn't what you expected, Jack said as they reached her vehicle. Me being late, bringing Lily, all of it. But I'm really glad I came. Emma looked up at him, at the genuine warmth in his eyes, and felt something she hadn't expected, disappointment that the evening was ending. Me too, she admitted. Would it be completely inappropriate to ask if I could see you again? Jack asked, his voice hopeful. Maybe without the 45-minute delay and with proper childcare arrangements? Emma hesitated. Dating a single father wasn't in her plans. It would be complicated, messy, full of potential heartbreak, not just for her, but for Lily too. The sensible thing would be to thank him for the evening and walk away. Instead, she found herself saying, I'd like that. The smile that spread across Jack's face made her heart skip. Really? Really, she confirmed, surprising herself with how much she meant it. This Christmas Eve meeting could be the beginning of something beautiful. If you're rooting for Jack and Emma, hit that like button and share this video with someone who believes in second chances, ***. What neither of them noticed was the figure watching from across the street, a woman with cold eyes and a determined expression. Jack's ex-wife hadn't planned on returning to town, but financial troubles had a way of changing plans. And seeing her former husband looking so happy with another woman and their daughter was not part of her agenda. As Emma drove home that night, she couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, Christmas Eve felt full of possibility rather than obligation. She'd agreed to meet Jack and Lily the day after Christmas for ice skating in the park. It was rash, impulsive even, but something about Jack's genuine nature and quick wit had broken through her carefully constructed defenses. Meanwhile, Jack tucked Lily into bed, his mind replaying every moment with Emma. Her laugh, the way she listened intently when he spoke, how she'd connected with Lily so effortlessly. After his ex-wife had abandoned them, he'd convinced himself that being alone was safer. But tonight had awakened something he'd thought was long dead, hope. Dad? Lily murmured sleepily as he kissed her forehead. Yes, sweetheart. I like her. She looks at you the way princesses look at princes in my books. Jack smiled. Go to sleep, Lily Bug. Santa's coming. Are you going to see her again? Lily persisted, fighting sleep. I hope so, Jack answered honestly. Good, Lily yawned. You laugh more when she's around. Even though you just met her. Out of the mouths of babes, Jack thought as he turned out the light. His daughter was right, he had laughed more tonight than he had in months. Emma brought out something in him that he'd forgotten existed. The next morning, Christmas Day dawned bright and clear. Lily was up at dawn, tearing into presents with the unbridled joy only children can muster. Jack watched her, his heart full, but his mind occasionally drifting to thoughts of Emma. Was she with family? Friends? Alone? His phone buzzed with a text message. Emma. Merry Christmas. Thanks for making last night special, even if it started with being stood up. Jack grinned and typed back, Merry Christmas. Sorry again for the late start. I promise to be punctual for ice skating tomorrow. 3 dots appeared, then, looking forward to it. Bring your A-game, Reynolds. I'm competitive on ice. Jack laughed out loud, causing Lily to look up from her new toys. Is that her? She asked knowingly. Maybe, Jack admitted. Tell her I said Merry Christmas. Jack did, and Emma's response was immediate. Tell Lily Merry Christmas back, and that I can't wait to see her tomorrow. The warmth that spread through Jack's chest had nothing to do with the coffee he was drinking. For the first time since his wife had walked out, Christmas felt complete. What Jack didn't know was that across town, his ex-wife Vanessa was making plans. She'd returned to the city broke and desperate, having burned through the money she'd taken when she left. Seeing Jack with another woman, a police detective, no less, complicated things. Her plan to manipulate her way back into their lives for financial security wouldn't work if he had moved on. As Emma prepared for her shift, she'd volunteered to work Christmas Day so colleagues with families could be home. She found herself humming Christmas carols. Her partner Marissa noticed immediately. Well, Marissa said with a knowing smile. I take it the date wasn't a disaster after all? Emma tried to maintain her professional demeanor, but couldn't help the smile that escaped. He was very late. And he brought his daughter. Oh no, Marissa winced. I told him to get a sitter. Actually, Emma admitted, it turned out to be perfect. Lily is amazing. And Jack is, not what I expected. In a good way? Emma nodded. In the best way. If you're enjoying this unexpected Christmas romance, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. The next day, Emma met Jack and Lily at the park's ice rink. The day was crisp and clear, perfect for skating. Lily bounded toward Emma with excitement, while Jack followed with a more measured pace, his smile warm and slightly nervous. You came! Lily exclaimed, as if she'd been worried Emma might change her mind. Of course I did, Emma replied, touched by the child's enthusiasm. I never break a promise. Jack's eyes met hers over Lily's head. That's good to know, he said softly. The afternoon was filled with laughter as they circled the rink. Emma was indeed competitive, skating with grace and speed that impressed both Jack and Lily. Jack was less skilled but made up for it with determination and humor, making exaggerated faces whenever he wobbled. Dad's not very good, Lily stage whispered to Emma. Mom used to say he had 2 left feet. Emma noticed how Jack's smile faltered slightly at the mention of his ex-wife. Well, she said, taking both their hands, I think he's doing just fine. The grateful look Jack gave her made Emma's heart flutter in a way that both thrilled and terrified her. This was happening too fast, this connection that seemed to deepen by the hour. After skating, they found a cafe near the park for hot chocolate. As Lily chatted animatedly about school and her friends, Emma watched Jack. He listened to his daughter with complete attention, asking questions and laughing at her jokes. The love between them was palpable, and Emma found herself drawn to it like a moth to flame. What? Jack asked, catching her watching him. Nothing, Emma said quickly. It's just nice to see a father so engaged with his daughter. Jack's expression softened. She's my whole world. Has been since the day she was born, but especially since her mother left. Dad, Lily protested, clearly uncomfortable with the topic. Sorry, sweetheart, Jack apologized immediately. Emma sensed there was more to the story than a simple separation, but now wasn't the time to ask. Instead, she steered the conversation to safer ground, asking Lily about her Christmas presents and favorite subjects in school. As they were leaving the cafe, Emma's phone rang. It was work, a case she'd been working on had a new lead, and they needed her to come in. I'm so sorry, she said, genuinely disappointed. I have to go. Jack nodded, understanding in his eyes. Duty calls. We get it, right Lily? Lily looked disappointed but nodded bravely. Will we see you again? The question hung in the air, loaded with more meaning than a child could understand. Emma looked at Jack, saw the hope in his eyes, and made a decision. Absolutely, she said firmly. In fact, if it's okay with your dad, maybe you both could come to dinner at my place this weekend? Jack's surprise was evident, but his smile was immediate. We'd love that, he said, his eyes conveying more than his simple words. As Emma drove to the station, her mind was torn between the case awaiting her and the afternoon she'd just spent. She'd never invited a man to her home so quickly, let alone a man with a child. What was it about Jack that made her throw caution to the wind? At the station, Marissa noticed her distraction immediately. "Earth to Emma," she said, waving a case file in front of her face. "You're a million miles away." "Sorry," Emma said, focusing on the paperwork before her. "What have we got?" "A series of break-ins targeting single parents," Marissa explained. "The perp seems to know exactly when the victims will be out and what valuables they have. Latest victim was hit yesterday, Christmas Day." Emma frowned, her detective instincts kicking in. "Someone who knows their routines. Maybe someone they trust." "That's what I'm thinking," Marissa agreed. "But we've got another angle. One victim mentioned his ex-wife had recently contacted him asking for money." Something cold settled in Emma's stomach. "Any description of this ex-wife?" "Nothing concrete yet. We're bringing in the victims tomorrow for detailed statements." Emma nodded, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling. She was letting her personal life cloud her professional judgment. Not every case had to connect to her own situation. If you're feeling that tension building, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you think might happen next. Meanwhile, Jack was tucking Lily into bed, his heart lighter than it had been in years. "Did you have fun today?" he asked, though he already knew the answer from her animated chatter all evening. "Emma is so cool," Lily said, hugging her teddy bear. "She skates like a princess and laughs at your jokes even when they're not funny." Jack chuckled. "Thanks for the vote of confidence." "Dad?" Lily's voice turned serious. "Is Emma going to be your girlfriend?" Jack sat on the edge of the bed, considering how to answer. "I don't know, sweetheart. We just met. These things take time." "But you like her, right?" "Yes," he admitted. "I like her very much." "Good," Lily said decisively. "Because I think she likes you too. She looks at you the way Miss Peterson looks at the librarian when she thinks nobody's watching." Jack laughed, amazed at his daughter's perceptiveness. "Go to sleep, detective. School starts again tomorrow." As he closed Lily's door, his phone buzzed with a text from Emma, "Made it to work. Already missing the skating rink. Is Saturday still good for dinner?" Jack's reply was immediate, "Absolutely. Name the time. We'll bring dessert." Across town, in a cheap motel room, Vanessa Reynolds scrolled through social media, her face hardening as she found what she was looking for, a public post from the ice skating rink showing Jack, Lily, and a blonde woman laughing together. The caption read, "Christmas magic at Westside Park." Vanessa's fingers tightened around her phone. 3 years ago, she'd left thinking the grass would be greener elsewhere. Now, broke and desperate, she needed to get back into Jack's life, and his wallet. This woman was a complication she hadn't anticipated. With determined fingers, she typed a search for Emma Sullivan police detective and began to research her competition. The week passed in a blur for both Emma and Jack. They texted daily, short messages that made them both smile at unexpected moments. Emma found herself sharing details of her cases, the non-confidential parts, while Jack sent funny stories about the elementary school's return from winter break. By Saturday, Emma was uncharacteristically nervous as she prepared for dinner. Her apartment, usually a place of calm and order, felt suddenly inadequate. Would Lily be bored? Would Jack think it was too sterile, too obviously the home of someone who lived alone? The doorbell rang precisely at 6, and Emma took a deep breath before opening it. Jack stood there with a bouquet of winter flowers in one hand and Lily's small hand in the other. Lily held a bakery box that she presented proudly. "We brought chocolate cake," she announced. "Dad said it's everyone's favorite." "He's absolutely right," Emma said, accepting both gifts with a genuine smile. "Come in, please." Dinner was a success, simple pasta that even Lily enjoyed, conversation that flowed easily, and laughter that filled Emma's usually quiet apartment. After they'd eaten, Lily asked to watch a movie, and Emma set her up with an animated film in the living room while she and Jack cleaned up. "Thank you for this," Jack said quietly as they stood side by side at the sink. "It means a lot to Lily. And to me." Emma handed him a plate to dry. "I'm enjoying it too. More than I expected to." "Is that a good thing?" Jack asked, his voice careful. Emma turned to face him, aware of how close they were standing. "Yes," she said honestly. "But it's also a little scary." Jack nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Because of Lily." "Partly," Emma admitted. "I've never dated someone with a child before. The stakes feel higher." "They are," Jack said simply. "Which is why I haven't dated much since Vanessa left. Lily has to come first." "As she should," Emma agreed. "I respect that about you, Jack. You're a good father." Something vulnerable crossed his face. "I try to be. After Vanessa abandoned us, I promised myself Lily would never feel unwanted again." Emma's detective instincts perked up. "Abandoned? Not just divorced?" Jack's expression darkened. "She left a note saying she needed to find herself. Took our savings and disappeared. No calls, no visits, nothing for 3 years. Lily was 7. Emma's heart ached for both of them. "I'm so sorry." Jack shrugged, but she could see the pain beneath his casual gesture. "We've managed. But it hasn't been easy for Lily to understand why her mother didn't want her." Without thinking, Emma reached out and took his hand. "Some people don't deserve to be parents." Jack's fingers tightened around hers, and for a moment, they stood in silence, connected by more than just their clasped hands. If this story is touching your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more emotional journeys like this one. The moment was broken by Lily calling from the living room. "Dad!" "Emma! You're missing the best part." They joined Lily on the couch, sitting on either side of her. As the animated characters on screen sang about friendship and courage, Emma found herself watching Jack and Lily instead. They mouthed the words together, clearly having seen the film multiple times, and their matching expressions of delight made something warm bloom in Emma's chest. This could be my family, she thought, and the intensity of that desire after just a week frightened her. After the movie ended and the chocolate cake was devoured with appropriate appreciation, it was time for Jack and Lily to leave. At the door, Lily surprised Emma with a tight hug. "Thank you for dinner," she said formally, clearly repeating words her father had coached her on. Then, more spontaneously, "Can we do this again?" Emma knelt to Lily's level. "I would love that." Lily beamed and then, with the directness only children possess, asked, "Do you like my dad?" "Because he really likes you. He keeps checking his phone for your messages." "Lily," Jack groaned, his fair skin flushing red. Emma laughed, standing to face Jack. "It's okay. I check my phone for his messages too." The look that passed between them was charged with possibility. After Lily was safely buckled into the car, Jack lingered at Emma's door. "I should warn you," he said softly. "I'm not very good at casual dating. I tend to fall hard and fast." Emma's heart raced. "Is that what we're doing? Dating?" Jack's smile was both nervous and hopeful. "I'd like to be. If you would." Instead of answering with words, Emma rose on her tiptoes and pressed a gentle kiss to his lips. It was brief, almost chaste, but the promise it held was unmistakable. "I'll take that." The promise it held was unmistakable. "I'll take that as a yes," Jack whispered when they parted. As Emma watched them drive away, she felt both elated and terrified. She was falling for not just Jack, but Lily too, falling into a ready-made family with all its complications and joys. What she didn't see was the car parked down the street, or the woman inside it watching with cold calculation. The next few weeks passed in a whirlwind of dinners, movie nights, and weekend outings. Emma found herself seamlessly integrated into Jack and Lily's life, and they into hers. She helped Lily with her science project, cheered at her school play, and spent quiet evenings with Jack after Lily was asleep, talking about everything and nothing. At work, the case of the break-ins targeting single parents continued to trouble her. The victims all reported similar stories: someone who knew their routines, their valuables, their vulnerabilities. And in 3 cases now, ex-spouses had recently reappeared asking for money. "I don't like the pattern," Emma told Marissa as they reviewed the case files. "It's too calculated." "Agreed," Marissa said. "But we're missing something. The ex-spouses all have alibis for the actual break-ins." Emma frowned, her mind working. What if they're not working alone? What if they're providing information to someone else? Before Marissa could respond, Emma's phone rang. It was Jack, his voice tight with worry. "Emma, someone broke into our house while we were at Lily's school concert. My laptop is gone, and Lily's piggy bank, and," he paused, his voice dropping, "and some jewelry that belonged to my mother." Emma's blood ran cold. "Are you both okay? Where are you now?" "We're fine. We're at Marissa's house next door. She said to call you right away." "Stay there," Emma said firmly. "I'm on my way." As she drove to Jack's house, Emma's mind raced. This couldn't be a coincidence. Jack was a single parent, just like the other victims. And if the pattern held true. "Has your ex-wife contacted you recently?" she asked as soon as she arrived, after making sure both Jack and Lily were unharmed. Jack's expression darkened. "How did you know?" "She texted last week saying she was in town and wanted to see Lily. I told her no." Emma exchanged a look with Marissa, who had joined them. "Jack, I think your break-in might be connected to a case we're working on. Several single parents have been targeted, and in many cases, estranged ex-spouses had recently made contact." Jack paled. "You think Vanessa is behind this?" "I don't know yet," Emma said honestly. "But I intend to find out. This case just got personal. If you're on the edge of your seat, hit that like button and share your theories in the comments below, ****. The investigation moved quickly after that. Emma had to recuse herself officially due to her personal connection to Jack, but she worked closely with Marissa, providing insights and connections. They discovered that Vanessa had indeed returned to town 3 months ago and had been staying at a motel under a different name. What they didn't expect was to find evidence linking her to a local fence known for moving stolen goods. Phone records showed multiple calls between them, always preceding a break-in. "She's not doing the actual breaking and entering," Marissa explained to Emma. "She's providing information, when the victims will be out, what valuables they have, how to access the properties." Emma felt sick. She's targeting her own daughter's home. The arrest was made quietly, away from Jack and Lily's house. Emma insisted on being there when they brought Vanessa in, though she couldn't participate in the interrogation. She wanted to see the woman who had caused so much pain to the people she had come to care for deeply. Vanessa Reynolds was still beautiful, but there was a hardness to her that Emma recognized from years of dealing with people who put themselves first at all costs. When their eyes met across the station, Emma saw recognition flash in Vanessa's expression, followed by cold hatred. "She knows who you are," Marissa said quietly. "Good," Emma replied. That night, Emma went to Jack's house. Lily was staying with Marissa, giving them privacy to talk. Jack looked exhausted, the emotional toll of the day evident in the slump of his shoulders. "They found my mother's jewelry," he said as Emma sat beside him on the couch. "It was the only thing that mattered to me. I promised my mom before she died that I'd give it to Lily someday." Emma took his hand. "I'm so sorry, Jack. About all of this." He turned to her, his eyes troubled. Did you suspect Vanessa from the beginning? Is that why you asked about her that first night at dinner? Emma shook her head. No. I asked because I wanted to understand what happened to you and Lily. The case connection came later, I promise. Jack nodded, believing her. What happens now? She'll be charged as an accessory to multiple burglaries. With the evidence they have, she's looking at significant jail time. Jack closed his eyes briefly. How do I tell Lily her mother is going to prison? Emma's heart ached for him. With honesty and love. The same way you've handled everything else with her. Jack looked at her then, really looked at her, as if seeing something new. How did you become so important to us so quickly? It's only been a month, but I can't imagine our lives without you now. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. I feel the same way. And it terrifies me. Why? Jack asked softly. Because I've never needed anyone before. I've always been fine on my own. But now, the thought of not having you and Lily in my life. She trailed off, unable to finish. Jack reached up to cup her face. You don't have to be alone anymore. Neither do we. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home, like finding something she hadn't even known she was missing. If this story has touched your heart, please like and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us love can find us when we least expect it. 6 months later, Emma stood in her apartment surrounded by boxes. Most of her belongings were packed, ready for the move to Jack's house the following weekend. They had decided to take this step carefully, with many discussions about what it would mean for Lily and for their still evolving relationship. Are you sure you're ready for this? Marissa asked as she taped up another box. It's a big change. Emma looked around at the apartment that had been her sanctuary for years. It was neat, organized, and completely under her control, everything her childhood with constantly moving parents had not been. I'm sure, she said, surprising herself with how true it felt. I love them, Marissa. Both of them. Marissa smiled. I know. It's written all over your face whenever you talk about them. I just never thought I'd see Detective Emma Sullivan, Queen of Independence, willingly share her life with a man and his child. Neither did I, Emma admitted. But sometimes the best things in life are the ones we don't plan for. That evening, as Emma, Jack, and Lily ate dinner together in what would soon be their shared home, Emma marveled at how completely her life had changed since that Christmas Eve blind date. Lily was chattering about where Emma's books would go in the living room, while Jack watched them both with undisguised love. Later, after Lily was asleep, Jack and Emma sat on the porch swing, watching the stars appear one by one in the summer sky. Do you ever think about how close we came to missing this? Jack asked, his arm around her shoulders. If I hadn't finally gathered the courage to show up at that diner, even though I was ridiculously late. Emma leaned into him. Or if I hadn't decided to wait those extra 5 minutes. Thank God for Christmas miracles, Jack said softly. Emma smiled. And for friends who set us up on blind dates. And for punch bowl disasters, Jack added with a laugh. And for little girls who tell their dads to pull out chairs, Emma finished, thinking of that first night. Jack turned to face her, his expression suddenly serious. I love you, Emma Sullivan. More than I thought possible after everything that happened with Vanessa. You've healed parts of me I thought were broken forever. Emma felt tears well in her eyes. I love you too. You and Lily have given me the family I always wanted but was too afraid to admit I needed. As they kissed under the starlit sky, Emma knew with absolute certainty that being late for that Christmas Eve blind date was the best thing that had ever happened to her. Thank you for watching this story of unexpected love and second chances. If it touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us.